The Barossa is to Australia what Napa is to America, the most prestigious wine region. And we've just heard that it's got 160 years of winemaking history. And the interesting story of Chateau Tanunda is that back in 1890, when the building was established, the region had 560 family growers in the region. And something very interesting had just happened in the wine world. A disease, phylloxera, had hit a lot of the wines, and there was a lot of demand for wine, but very little supply. And here you had this interesting country down south that had been creating wines. We had German immigrants and European immigrants settle in the Barossa. They started planting in the 1840s, and there was finally an opportunity for these 560 families who had their own vineyards to work together in a cooperative. They built Chateau Tanunda and started selling their wines overseas. I just want to share with you how incredible it was to build a building like Chateau Tanunda. If you saw some of the brochures, you may have seen what the building looks like. And it is the size of an American football field. It was at the time when they had just invented the penny farthing bicycle. It was out in the Barossa, and there were train tracks that ran in front of Chateau Tanunda. And they shipped 700,000 gallons of wine to continental Europe in 1901. And so the prosperity of the Barossa and the prosperity of Chateau Tanunda really run hand in hand. I'm feeling quite festive, and actually I just want to say that it's very interesting tonight because I know the story of Chateau Tanunda, and then there's the story of my family with Chateau Tanunda, which is actually a fairly recent history, and we're enjoying these incredible wines tonight from this incredible winery. Actually, it's a real tribute to my father, John Geber, who has been in the wine industry for over 20 years. But in the 1990s, something incredible happened, and Myra asked me just before, I spoke about the cooperative of Chateau Tanunda, and then she said, well, how is it that your family happens to be with Chateau Tanunda? And a very interesting story from the original people who set up Chateau Tanunda. It moved to the Seppelt wine family, which is a big name in Australian wine, and they owned and gave birth to brands such as Jacobs Creek, Penfolds, the big, high-profile names in Australian wine. What happened was all these companies were bought by the public sector, and in the 1990s what happened was Chateau Tanunda was actually decommissioned. It was shut down. The building was vandalised by those terrible use that we have all over the world. They're just the same as they are in Australia, as I'm sure they are here. Graffiti, stones thrown through the windows. And my father started work in the wine industry as a negociant. He bought wines and bought grapes and sent them overseas to continental Europe. So a similar story to the initial founders of Chateau Tanunda. And he was riding his bicycle one day through the Barossa Valley where they purchased a lot of grapes. And he came across a property. And I like to say that there are moments in life where a window of opportunity is presented. And this window of opportunity was presented to my father, and it affected my family. He saw this property, it said, private property, keep out, no trespassers allowed. And down in Australia, we don't pay a lot of attention to rules, so I mean red lights, keep out signs. And we've got this character, which I hold in myself today, but he cycled through the property and saw this incredible historical building that had been decommissioned, and there was a little for sale sign at the front of the Chateau Tanunda property. And it was back in the day when you just had those mobile phones that were those, like brick-held Nokia.
Size of a shoebox.
And he's on his bicycle with a Nokia because he's a pretty savvy business guy and he needs his mobile on the bicycle, right? And he sees this for sale sign and he rings it, and he finds out that Chateau Tanunda is for sale, and he purchases it on the spot. But after that moment, it was in 1998, there was a 10-year renovation plan. And if you've had the chance to take a look at the brochures, this is a building that is the size of a football field. We've put in these beautiful gardens, a croquet lawn, a cricket oval. It's got magnificent function rooms. We have a room that seats 500 people in the grand ballroom, and is now, and we believe rightly so, returned to Chateau Tanunda is the Barossa region's wine show. This icon of the Barossa has had life breathed back into it. And that's a great tribute to my father. He's put in a lot of effort, and it really changed. He had a vision. It changed my family's life. I grew up in Sydney, and then all of a sudden we were relocating to the Barossa while all these renovations were going on. And I'll admit that at times I thought my father was crazy. But it's created incredible opportunities for myself. You know, traveling to places like I've been to China, where we sell our wines, through Europe to Russia to, you know, I mean, things like the Russian ballet, which is opportunities that you don't get you know, often in a lifetime. And so tonight we're trying these incredible wines. We have this Noble Baron Shiraz, which is really a tribute to the complexities and incredible style that a Shiraz can have. This has, you know, ripe red fruits. It's got nice black fruits and plums. There's a tobacco note in this wine. People say mint chocolate. There's a savouriness to this wine, a leather taste and flavour to this wine. It's incredibly complex. It's made with this basket press as well that comes from France. It's 24 months in French oak barrels, in 300-litre barrels that are as tall as myself. And it's a wine that you can lay down and cellar for up to 10 years. And we're going to have it with this delicious dessert, and I can't wait for the food pairing. There's a hint of vanilla in there, which I'm sure is going to go magnificently. So thanks very much, everyone. Please enjoy.
If I may add to that, I think you've got a Riesling with an Australian accent. I've always liked an Australian accent, so thank you for that.